and a little bit earlier, they need a lot of attention.
Like what attention with what? Is this stuff fascinates me. I mean, just for you to say that, and I believe all the great ones, they say you never stop learning. But like, what are you working with? That's the stuff that fascinates me, because I know it's like a science. You're like a mad scientist with a beaker. Like, okay, this I got to do. Like, that's the stuff that I was fascinated about.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, what I used to do before now things are a little bit easier with the flight simulator, but what I used to do when I was coaching at Bloomfield, we didn't have anything. There was no simulator, there's no Rapsodo, there's nothing. I have a buddy who's very good at math, and told him, I was like, I need to figure out where I need these guys to be hitting the ball in the cage. We're not always hitting on a field, and when we're hitting in the cage, I need to know where they need to hit it. The cage is 60 feet long, it's 18 feet high. If they hit the ball 90 miles an hour, by what trajectory, where does that equal in the cage? We sat down for hours and we came up with a formula. Yeah, and what I would do is hang ribbons from the top of the cage.
Okay.
So that, if I'm not there, or to me, the reason for this was when I got hired there, the easiest way to lose a kid's trust, you go and you say, hey, that's not going to work. Because the reason why I know this is because that's exactly what happened.
I lost that. I lost what you just said. The easiest thing.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, the
easiest way to lose a kid's trust is by trying to change, tell them that what they're doing isn't working, and try to, take your own, set up your own agenda.
Right.
And the reason I know that is because that's exactly what happened to me when I was at Kane. Was once the moment I was told that I need to change my swing, it was like, well, hold on. Like I succeeded this way. Like, give me a second. Like, let's figure this out. But so I knew going into coaching that wasn't a route that I was going to take. So I need to figure out another way to get these guys to do what I wanted them to do without them knowing that they were doing what I wanted them to do. And by that, I told them, I sat them down. I said, hey, like if you guys want to work on mechanics, if you guys want to work on the swing, we can work on it. The only thing that I'll ask is that no matter what it is that you're doing, you're just aiming for these ribbons, and the ribbons on top of the cage, would be the equivalent of hitting base hits, hitting doubles based off of the player's exercise.
Okay.
So I used to categorize the guys into different groups based off of how hard they hit it. I would lump all the guys that were similar exit velocities together, and they would be one group. So the guys that were maybe 80 to 85 miles an hour off the tee, they would be one group. The guys that were 85 to 90 miles an hour off the tee were one group. They would come in at different times. That way they were all similar in space. And I would say, okay, you're aiming for the black ribbon. You're aiming for the red ribbon. You're aiming for this. You hit it a little bit harder. You're aiming for the blue ribbon at the back. You could afford to hit it that, or a little bit further up. You hit it hard enough where you could afford to hit it a little bit higher onto the cage.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
wow.
That was stuff that
That was all through. Yeah. So you had the wherewithal to get a friend in. Hey, I know what I need, but I don't know how to do it, and get a system going with tape and everything, which like you were ahead of the curve or whatever. But you made it work with the players.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, to me, I'm not the smartest. I know what I'm good at. I know what
exactly.
I'm not good at. And I surround myself with tacticians
that
know what they're doing.
But that's what works for you, Jim. That's you. It's like, this is who I am. I know what I'm really good at. I know. And look at you in life. Like, you got out of, you're like, I'm going to be a cop. And then you're like, well, this is, I'm going to hit. I'm going to, I might as well do the thing. Like, people write about stuff they know about. And you knew that this would, the guy, I'm blanking on the guy in San Diego. He resonated with you. You got something there out of it, and it led you on a career path that, hey, listen, and how, you're only, how old are you?
29.
Think about that. You're 29 years old. I mean, most people don't figure this out until, I'm still trying to figure out stuff, and I'm 54. I mean, think about it.
Far from figured.
And you don't have it, but you're going the path you want to go, and you're still learning. I mean, that's what I'm amazed by. And just about, and you learned from your experiences in college. You got there, and I always feel like you hear about that a lot. Like the coaches want to make the players into what they want them to be, but they, like you said, I was successfully hitting the way I hit. So why would I change something that works? Just make me better, but use what you're using the tools that you have with these kids. Correct?
Try my best, yeah.
And then improve what they have. But, that's what you said. You don't want to tell a kid, hey, we got to change this. Because then a kid's like, hey, I've been hitting this way the whole time. I mean,
Yep. I tell all my guys usually when they first come in, the first thing I'll ask them when they walk in, especially if it's a new guy, I'll ask them, what are you doing here? Like, what could I do for you and why are you here? And, they'll tell me timing, they'll tell me this, they'll tell me that. I tell them, I'm like, here's the thing, like, we're going to take what you have to its ceiling. Whatever that ceiling may be, that ceiling might be here, that ceiling might be here. Whatever it is, we're going to take it to the ceiling, and then we'll make adjustments from there if we want to and if you want to. And I can't promise, what I'll tell them is, like, I may not be your guy, and if I'm not, then go find,
right.
I hope you find somebody who is. Like, it may not work out.
Right.
It's worked out for it's worked out, luckily and thankfully.
Right.
But if it doesn't, then I'm the way that I do things may not be for everybody, and that's okay.
Right.
Go find somebody that is a better fit for you.
Do you feel? How do you do you watch a lot of Major League Baseball? Do you watch a lot of baseball?
Occasionally, it's really tough just because I'm in the cage until about 10.
Oh, but you would watch. Well, you would watch though. Do you find?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was curious what you thought about the game today. If things are being implemented in the right way, I feel like the Yankees brought in the hitting coach in the middle of the season, which I think is a tough job for anybody to come in and try to change things mid-season and get things changed. So I was just wondering what you thought about the game today, if it's going in the right direction, in your opinion, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, these guys. Here's the thing: these guys are hitting with their own guys. These guys aren't relying on the Yankees. Like, Sean Casey's not going up to Aaron Judge before a game saying, like, hey, you need to get your foot down early. These guys are they're there for, I don't want to say hype men, because they're there for experience and they're there for to provide input and knowledge. But I don't think it's how it is in college. Like, you're gonna have a hitting coach who's gonna tell you, hey, like, you got to get your foot down, you got to do this, and whatever it may be. In the show, like, these guys are there, and no one's telling Anthony Rizzo that he's got to fix it. A lot of these guys, I think, hit with their own personal coaches. They hit with their own personal coaches,
right?
And yeah, I think that that's more what they go with.
Yeah,
I think it's going in. I think it's good. I think the pitching has become incredible, which makes
right. I think it's harder even now, right?
Harder.
Right.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
What's the youngest? What's the youngest age you work with? Yeah, Santa Monica Train isn't happy that I brought up the pros. Sorry there. I'm sorry about that. He wants to talk about high school, not the pros. I apologize. I got off track. What's the youngest age you're dealing with right now? You dealing more high school kids than anything?
I have a few, decent amount of college players. I have a decent amount of high school players. I have a decent. It's mixed. I have some younger guys. I have high school guys. I have college guys. And yeah, they all go in. And I think that's one of the hardest things. I was just telling my wife this the other day was, it's really tough. You have a kid like Jake that comes in, and Jake comes in at well, let's say 2:30, or let's say 4:00. If Jake comes in at 4:00, this is a Division I player. And I have a middle school kid before him at 3:30. I have to change my mentality from a young kid,
right,
to a Division I player. It's like you have to flip the switch, and then it's tough to turn that off once you do it. So if you go and you get another kid who's not a lot of these guys are at Jake's level, you get somebody who's not going to compare to Jake, and you got to try to make it all work in your brain and figure out how to master the personalities. It gets challenging, but. So I have kids from all different age ranges. So it's a great time.
This guy Huddy B 16 asked, any drills how to get the back involved and not using the arms? What do you have anything to say about that? I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I just think it's interesting. People have all stuff to say.
Drills.